Hello everybody, my name's Kanai Manika, and welcome back to the unboxing, where today we're jumping a little bit more obscure, kind of. You know me, I like toys, I like learning about toys, and this was one of the most interesting toys to learn about. I mean, not this toy, but you know what I mean. Today, we are taking a look at one of Marvel's many endeavors in adapting someone else's work and trying to integrate it more fully into their universe until they lose the license, in which they ultimately have to decanonize the character in a somewhat awkward fashion with a Marvel Legends rendition of that character, because Hasbro was in a unique position to be able to take advantage of that property. That's right, today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends comic book accessory blister wave, whatever you call it, ROM the Spaceknight, from the comic series ROM Spaceknight. But yeah, ROM here is originally a toy character conceived by, I believe, Parker Brothers, and then they shunted the property license off to Hasbro, or to Marvel, and were like, hey, can you make us a comic book based on our toy so we can sell more toys? And then the comic book just kind of kept going, apparently. Thank you to, I guess, that one Linkara video I watched about him. So yeah, and then he went away for a while, and then Parker Brothers was acquired by Hasbro because corporations love to monopolize, even in the toy industry. And from there, he became a Hasbro property that they kind of used, but not really too many times. But now that they also have the Marvel license, they are in a unique position to be able to do this specific figure, this specific crossover, a ROM from the Marvel comics, because they have both Marvel and Marvel as a licensed out property, as well as ROM as a character. So I'm excited. What I'm not super excited about is the fact that it's on a blister package, and a fairly generic one at that, to be fair. I do like that the corner here, as you can tell, has that sort of Marvel Legends series in the sort of Marvel-y, like, character box that's up there. So you have the Marvel Legends series logo, an image of ROM, a render, I believe, but with like a thick comic booky outline. Marvel Legends 1979, #1, I guess. I don't know if that's just because of the wave or whatever. I don't know. Or if it's because it's from ROM's first issue or whatever. But yeah, and then you get the ROM Spaceknight logo from that exact comic. A choking hazard. This video is for older than 13 audiences, so don't watch this if you're a child. We have this blue strip in the background, which gives us some images from, I believe, the comic. Some of that comic book artwork of ROM doing things and stuff. And then you obviously have your plastic window, which allows you to see the figure of ROM, everything he comes with, his comic accessory, which is bolstered right here, and the fact that he is ROM. And I do like the pink. I think the pink here is nice. And it is a full window, so you can kind of look at the side and see all that, look at this side and see all that. This is a lot of wasted space because it's meant to show the collected comics, but whatever. But yeah, on the back side, you get the sort of generic look for this wave. You have the Marvel Legends series logo up there, and also look for the assorted characters of the wave, the Wolverine Dakin from Dark Avengers, Adam Warlock from Infinity Gauntlet, the Ultimate Iron Man from, well, Ultimate Iron Man, Banshee from the classic giant-sized X-Men, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, from his run on Ultimate Spider-Man, that specific unmasked look, and then, of course, ROM, because fuck it. ROM's here now. Fuck you, dumbass. But yeah, I'm excited to look at this. And then here we have the other 5 comic covers, as well as specifically ROM pointed out right there. ROM. In ROM #1, the Spaceknight ROM tracks the vile dire wraiths across the cosmos, arriving on Earth to continue his pledge to defeat them in a bunch of different languages. That's fun. And you get a bunch of other like comic book imagery here from iconic different like Marvel comics, I guess, or I guess from these ones specifically. So like you can see ROM there, which is kind of funny. I think these are all ROM probably, actually, because it looks like this is the Phantom Dimension Limbo using the whateverizer. I forget the names of his. There's an energy analyzer and the neutralizer, I think it's called. Whatever. He's got 2 weapons, even though only one of them's a weapon. We'll get there. And then you have all your legal and warnings and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the package. Not really a top and bottom. There kind of is. There's like that, but it's not really a bottom. But that means we need to open this up, and I know people are gonna kill me for opening it up. I might buy a second one for the packaging, but we're gonna use like a knife. So I'm gonna be careful. I do not like blister packages. They scare me and also piss me off, because I don't like having to worry about damaging the package, but inherently you have to do that on these, but also who cares? So yeah, here is ROM with basically everything he comes with now that he's out of the package. There's also this, because that's its own little thing. So I guess we should start there, as is indicated by the name of the lineup or whatever. The primary gimmick is that they all come with these specially printed comic book cover things. The back are all the same. They say Marvel Legends series and Hasbro, and this isn't just like a piece of like black plastic. I mean, it is, but like you can see they also sculpted in like staples on the side. I hope it's coming through. You can kind of see it more at an angle. Also, it's like, it is like an actual comic booky sort of dealio, and it looks pretty nice. I kind of wish it had a little bit more paint, but a lot of the paint budget for this went to getting the comic book cover right. I think it's using their like face print technology, and it is very nice. It's kind of really fun to have a comic book cover, and it's also very funny that the comic book cover I have is ROM Spaceknight #1. But yeah, this is cute. This is nice. Fun little inclusion. Not sure it's super necessary, but I think I might have preferred having more hands than that, but ROM mostly comes with what he needs, so I'm not too mad at that part's inclusion. Speaking of hands, they are taped in a little bit, so I gotta get in there and peel off the tape. So he comes with a two different types, like an open hand and a gripper, but outside of that, he comes with one fist. I forget which hand this is for. I'm bad at directions. This is his right fist. But as you can see, they are uniquely sculpted, unlike most Marvel Legends-y things, because the fingers are a little bit kind of melded with each other, intentionally so. That's kind of ROM's look. He kind of looks like he's wearing mittens all the time. They do a good job of replicating that here, even if it is somewhat close to their pre-existing hand sculpts. But that becomes more evident in this hand, the alternate gripper. He does have that nice silver sheen. This was kind of previously seen on like their Ultron, which is also a very nice piece. Yeah, as you can see, he's got those melded fingers, which are uniquely for him, though they do have that little bit of ribbing detail. Again, he kind of looks like he's wearing mittens, which is kind of cute, I guess. But then he also has his two weapons. So first off, we have, we'll go with this one. I believe this is the data analyzer. Let me get that out. There we are. Yeah, this is the data analyzer, as you can see from the, or like energy analyzer or whatever. As you can see from the back, it's got like a little screen on it and some like techno babble or whatever. It is interestingly shaped for like a accessory weapon sort of deal. Ooh, and it like, okay, I see. So that the paint doesn't rub too badly or whatever, the lower half is not painted of the handle. That's interesting. But yeah, as you can see, it's this nice silver thing with that nice silver painting. There might even be some, it might just be natural shadows, but there might be some lining in these lines. At the front, we have a separate piece of clear plastic, clear red plastic, which represents the analyzer part, which is nice to see. I do like it, and it shines quite well in the light. And yeah, this is nice. It's one of ROM's accessories, certainly. On the other hand, we have the neutralizer, sending people to limbo or whatever, which kind of comes in two parts. First off is a very similar hand accessory. As you can see, I think they have the same front piece even, but it is differently shaped. There's no visor on the back of the shot, and it is also more rectangular, where this is got like a rounded hexagonal shape almost. But as you can see, there is also some of that nice classic comic-y, like techno-y detailing, which is nice. I think the handle is done similarly. Yes, it is. It's got less paint there. But yeah, it is nice. It looks good. But alongside that, to portray it, they created a fucking unique blast effect for the neutralizer. It is in that same red, and since this is softer, I don't think it should damage it if you leave it on there, but it attaches like so, and it's able to fucking blast out like that, and it's really nicely shaped. It has some nice spiking to it, and it's just really cool. I'm really surprised that they included that, but I'm not unpleased. But yeah, that means we get to move on to ROM himself, and there we are. ROM, if you can't tell, is kind of big. I'm gonna bring the camera down a little bit. ROM's kind of big. Here he is with the Marvel Legends Miles G. Morales. For a sense of scale, he is like fully 7 inches. Like, goodness gracious. Also, I don't know. Like, I want to get like an SH figure arts, but he's fucking big. He's like big, and he is pretty heavy too. He is a big ass guy, and to coat it all in silver must have been pretty expensive. So I do commend them for being able to pull off ROM. I was not expecting him to be this big. Looking at like promo images as we do a full rotation, he is just big and chunky, and this is crazy. And like, that means that most of this must be like original sculpting just to get that big size on him. I think he might, like, if not 100%, like the arms might be reuse. Like the hands obviously aren't, but these arms might be reuse, and like maybe the calves. But he is just full of brand new sculpting, and I really appreciate that in capturing his aesthetic, as simple as it might seem at first. So starting off, Let's take a look at ROM's head. It is very simple, clearly, but it is very well done. It has that nice rectangular shape, very like kind of classic-y, like sci-fi, shulky B-movie sci-fi robot, which I do like a lot. I like the tone, but the eyes are so well done. They have that nice kind of glowing, almost like crackle to them. Like, it's not a Kirby crackle, but you know what I mean. It just looks very good. They're very well printed on there. They're using like a tampograph print, and I think that was the right choice, and it works very well. And then he does have some unique sculpting at the top of his head to capture that toyetic look with like those ribs. But yeah, and then he also has like a lined up neck, kind of like a Colossus sort of deal. But then that brings us into the big, chunky, armored torso. Again, very nicely painted in that nice silver. And it just has that perfect like V-ish shape or U-ish shape with those nice rib details there. And it also has a lot of depth to it, going to his jetpack. The jetpack has some nice ribs on it. It has these little bits of detailing, these tubes coming from up here, and then some nice gradient effects here at like the back with like where like the boosters would be. I kind of wish you could port some blast effects in there, but I'll live. We get down to the lower torso, and it's just kind of like a face almost. We have these like almost eye-looking bits, the rivets as well, and these like are more of this aesthetic in like that sort of V shape, which feels very cool and very robotic. The most plain bit are the arms. They are pinless, thankfully, but they do have a fairly generic look. Obviously, you have the hands, which have their flatness and like mitten-ishness to them, and it does work. They're just simple. And then we move on to I guess the thighs, which have these nice boots covering them up, but they do have some nice unique ribbed detail again, which looks very cool and very unique. But that means that these thighs are unique, and and it also hides the swivel from what I can see. We'll get there. But yeah, it is just so weird and unique the way this is done. He has some fairly generic thighs, but with some nice little bits of boot detailing here for the sake of that. And then his feet are also really cool. They have that sort of like spiked look that is just very nice and very robotic. And yeah, he has a fairly simple aesthetic. His paint job is good, even if it's not like complex. I think it's because of all the silver. He just shines, especially in this lighting here. He is just like, he's pretty spectacular, all things considered. I really like how he looks. But yeah, let's get into articulation, because I've heard good things about it. So first off, the head looks like there's a hinge up top and a ball joint at the bottom, which allows him to look up all the way, basically. Look down, pretty decently, though stopped by the torso block. He has a swivel, and he also has some decent side-to-side as well, despite having the hinged up and down. This feels like a pretty ideal Marvel Legends neck system. No butterfly, unfortunately, but there is a full-on swivel. It's a bit tight, but there is a full-on swivel there, and he can move his arm out to do a T-pose. There is a bicep swivel, a double-jointed elbow, as you would expect from Marvel Legends, and your usual Marvel Legends hands, which have different styles of hinges. These, okay, so the holding hands have up and down because they're meant for guns, so they can go down or they can go up, like so. The other hands, this open hand and the fist, have an inward-outward joint, so keep that in mind for while you are posing your ROM. Torso. Upper torso's on a ball joint, lower torso's on a hinge, so let's mess around with that. So your swivel's going to come from there, so you can swivel them not all the way. Well, the backpack kind of gets in the way, but not by too much, so you can swivel a lot there at the upper torso, so that's where your swivel's coming from. That also has a lot of freeness, so you have a lot of tilt, some decent forward and backward as well, but a lot of your forward and backward is going to come from the hinge, so let's activate that. Backward, the backpack gets in the way a bit, but he can go back that far, and forward, that's a full-on crunch, baby. That's like Spider-Man levels. That's amazing. Yeah, that's very strong. So now hips are on ball joints. It looks like I don't think they're drop downs, so they kick forward about that far, basically all the way. Backward, not super far. Outward, not 100%, but basically all you need. There's no thigh swivel here, but there is a thigh swivel here, where the boot is. So it's nice and hidden by the boot cut, and it's like indented. Like faux ratcheted, that's weird, but it is that. So you can swivel that. Double jointed knee, so he can go all the way with his double jointed knee. That's amazing. And then no boot cut because we already have a boot cut, I guess. And then ankles are able to do your usual Marvel Legends ankles stuff, so they can kick forward, they can kick all the way backward, and they have really good ankle tilt. So yeah, this ROM is kind of a tour de force. They didn't need to go this hard on ROM probably, but I am glad they did. I don't know if it's because they had less licensing costs they had to pay because it's ROM, a character they own, and they just had to pay licensing costs for that specific comic cover, or if they just decided to go all out on ROM because they're like, fuck it. But I appreciate whoever decided that ROM should be one of the best figures in the line. Nice silver paint job, really good articulation, really good sculpt that replicates the comic he's from very well, and yeah, I just have to say this is a good figure. Full marks. Good job, Marvel Legends. I'm glad to be able to say something good about Marvel Legends, because I'm usually somewhat critical nowadays of a lot of Hasbro's non-Transformers action figure efforts, but I'm glad to be able to say something nice about it. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, let me know what other Marvel Legends I've been missing out on the past couple years. Do the usual YouTube stuff as well, like, comment, subscribe, whatever the fuck new bullshit they're trying to implement as well. And until next time, I'll see you all around. Bye-bye!